Courchevel, Czech Republic. Judge number 2, Ms. Christine Hart, France. Judge number 3, Ms. Valeria Rossa, Italy. Judge number 4, Ms. Olena Lisova, Ukraine. Judge number 5, Mr. Sho Kagayama, Japan. Judge number 6, Ms. Emily Ann, Estonia. Judge number 7, Ms. Lei Wan Chen, China. Judge number 8, Ms. Kathleen Hutton, the United States of America. Judge number 9, Ms. Erika Topolsky, Canada. Please welcome the technical panel, technical controller, Mr. Hal Maron, ISU. Technical specialist, Ms. Svetlana Guerrero, ISU. Ms. Olga Akimova, ISU.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gdansk, Poland. Day 2 of competition here on week 4 of the ISU Junior Grand Prix. I'm your host, Ted Barton, along with Mark Hanratty. Rhythm dance coming up in just a few moments. Mark, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, we have 24 teams from 19 different skating nations competing, the biggest dance event of the Junior Grand Prix so far. And competing today, we have some reigning world junior medalists. So it's going to be an incredible competition. Can't wait to see the tangos taking place.
Some great entertainment coming up in the rhythm dance right now. Welcome back, everyone, to Day 2 competition here in Gdansk, Poland, Week 4 of the ISU Junior Grand Prix as we look at the Olivia Arena here in Gdansk. Of course, built in the early 1970s. It has 2 ice facilities in here. Little chilly, but it's been the great host of at least 3 or 4 Junior Grand Prix in the past few seasons. I'm your host, Ted Barton, along with Mark Hanratty, the dance expert. And coming up is the rhythm dance. Thank gosh you're here.
No pressure, no pressure. I've got my rule book at the ready just to make sure that we cover the skaters as best we can. 5 elements for the junior dancers in the rhythm dance. And all of the teams having to choose a tango plus at least one following dance style as we look now to see the judges who officiate over the event.
And, of course, we thank them for all the time and effort they've made to the sport, of course, and getting through COVID. Now we're back in person. It's great to see the judges. Great to talk with them as well. If you look at the technical panel, there were interesting discussions about the changes that have been made and their thoughts and their applications. So it's pretty interesting conversations indeed as you look at the start order for this event.
Yeah, I reveling in opportunity to ask questions from officials and judges and just to get further insight as to the thoughts from all involved in the sport.
Well, you have completely missed your calling in profession. I know you're in dancing on ice. It's still a weird name, but dancing on ice, and a commentator and a choreographer. You should have been an inspector for Scotland Yard or for MI5 or whatever, because when you get the person.
Who's to say I'm not an MI5? I'm just not telling you about it.
You got good cover. Dancing on ice and figure skating commentator. You're going, nah, he's not a spy.
He wears sequins and lycra, but
yeah,
actually
he's not a spy. Whoops, a little confusion there on the warm up, as it always is. The ice dance. Now, tell us a little bit about what we're going to see. We're going to see a wide variety, obviously, of skills.
Yeah, we have 24 teams to enjoy, and yesterday we touched on the fact that the event in Armenia last week had to be cancelled, and the Polish Figure Skating Federation and the International Skating Union have done a wonderful job in reassigning some of the competitors to be able to still have the Junior Grand Prix experience, and for some, their second Junior Grand Prix experience this season, and we look at teams that will be contending to try and secure a spot at the Junior Grand Prix final. And so with 24 teams, we get the chance to see 24 tangos. All of the teams will have to perform 2 sections of the Argentine tango, and that a pattern dance previously known as the compulsory dance, which has been known for decades by ice dancers around the world.
Now let's talk a little bit about this rhythm, the tango. This is analytical. It's not being critical at all. Okay, but it's difficult to see. Like last year, we see a wide range.
Yes.
Of rhythms, but approaches and different types of music that fit that rhythm. But in the tango, there's limitations in there. We're going to hear probably a lot of the same pieces.
Absolutely, and it is common that piazzolla is the music that we will hear regularly and repeatedly. Brilliant tango music. It is a little bit more challenging for the skaters to find something original and unique. That said, all of the junior teams must have tango. And use that tango rhythm, a specific set of rhythm and tempo to fit the Argentine tango, the section of the compulsory dance and the pattern dance that they must use. But they also must put that with another following dance style from Paso Doble, Flamenco, Spanish Waltz, Fandango, Bolero, Jota, Sevillas, Milonga. They have a choice of other dance styles which they must pair it with. And it's interesting to see those teams which will really pick a different dance style and really demonstrate the evidence of their research and their understanding of that for the judges.
I never heard actually of many of those rhythms. Really, you're going, what? Are they making that up? But there is a lot of tango rhythms.
And all of these other rhythms that the teams have to choose from, the judging community have had education on these different styles. So I've seen PDFs, I've seen documents which give an insight into the different dance styles. So if a skater chose, say, Fandango, there is information that can be researched and sourced about the history and the stylization of Fandango. The judges then have to reward accordingly the application of that dance style in their choreography and their composition.
Well, that certainly took some, re-education, if you will, or reviewing of those rhythms up by the judges to ensure that they understood the differences as well.
Yeah, and having heard from judges there are some judges who will judge both singles and dance, and having had conversations with one judge in particular who does officiate singles, pairs and ice dance, and they acknowledge that within the ice dance competition that there are more changes year upon year simply because the rhythm dance dictates different style every year, and so that in itself requires an education from the judges to be able to properly ascertain what's what for the teams.
Well, we talked a little bit about this yesterday in when we're asked a question as to which discipline we enjoyed the most or we liked the most, and we said we like them all, no question. But from an entertainment perspective, I prefer dance. I mean, it's dramatic and it's exciting. It's unpredictable, especially on the warm-up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Now, what we're going to see here, though, a lot of young teams that are developing just the basic skating skills. So you can't expect the smoothness of transitions from one element to the other and the connection with the music maybe as well as you would as a senior team, because they're learning just the skating skills and then the partnership, the relationship, and then, you know, how to skate together. At the same time, they have to do all these elements and look really nice doing it at the same time. So it's complicated.
Absolutely. And we see, and we will get to enjoy, not the end product because it's still relatively early in the season for the teams, but a product that has been honed and worked upon for many months through the off-season. But what we don't get insight into, what we can try and find with my research and
with your detective
work is the challenges that the teams will face en route to this performance level.
Well, here we go. First team of 24 in the rhythm dance. Day 2 of competition here in Gdansk. Week number 4. We'll move on to this same location next week.
On the ice representing Czech Republic, Andrea Surna and Jakub Novak.
14-year-old Andrea Surna and 15-year-old Jakub Novak from the Czech Republic. They had a fall in the rhythm dance in Ostrava, looking to rectify that here.
Well, 36.40, their season's best in Ostrava. They will be skating a tango and a flamenco.
Andrea Surna and Jakub Novak from the Czech Republic starting the rhythm dance competition here in Gdansk at the Solidarity Cup.
Interesting, you know, as I watch this young team and think about all the junior teams coming up, and we'll see a wide range as we talked about. You know, a lot of work, a lot of concentration on what the feet are doing, of course, less on the upper body. It was a flamenco, I'm going, geez, I'm missing some of the flamenco flair to it all. But at the stage of development, you got to do one thing at a time. Get the right edges, get your skating skills, skate side by side, you have good unison. We'll worry about the performance a little later.
Absolutely, and having seen them compete in Ostrava at Czech skate, and knowing that they'd had a fall in the rhythm dance, that perhaps paved the way for a little bit more conservative, caution and conservative approach. But you can see here, as we look at the second section of the Argentine tango, the couples can choose whether or not to take the first section or second section. They don't have to do it in the kind of chronological order of the dance that we were used to seeing. You can see that there is deep knee, soft knee action, and respectable skating skills. That's Sked just preparing for the twizzles, which they had problems with in Ostrava, and I'm sure they'll be relieved.
And they got through this, no question. Little wobbles here and there, right there on that for Andrea, but overall they got through that nicely.
Absolutely, and here, as we look just to see the rotation lift, cleanly done. Little tiny wobble here at the very end. They just about made it mistake-free.
Missing one level. They're in a level 3 on that. A small plus GOE as well. So a better experience.
Absolutely. And you can just see there, wonderful. I love to see the reaction to what is, you can just sense there's a relief and there's a satisfaction from the team.
A joy and relief at the same time.
Well done.
Para uzyskała w tańcu rytmicznym 40 punktów I 3 sety.
Well, season's best at 40.03. That'll put Andrea and Jacob currently, obviously, in the first place, to the first team out in an event of 24.
Which is their new season's best.
And they look pretty happy with that, getting the season's best. That's what's so good about the judging system. It helps you understand your progress no matter where you end up. Personal progress.
Next to skate, representing Germany, 15-year-old Alexia Kruk and 17-year-old Jan Eisenhaber.
47.52, their season's best. In Ostrava, they'll skate a tango and a flamenco. You know, one of the things I was thinking of while watching this team, not about this team necessarily, but about the dance itself, is that, you know, especially in the juniors, timing is so critical. I mean, dancing is. So if you are back a little bit behind the music, first of all, you might be off the beat, which is not good for dance. Second of all, you're chasing it because it's so critical, the panic, especially when you're in juniors.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I did sense that a little bit in the midline step. Maybe a little bit more for Jan towards the latter part of the program. But I think there's a wonderful team here as they're greeted by Stefano Caruso, their coach, alongside Robin Tweedale, and two German teams train together. And we can hear the applause and the cheering. There are some school children here, but I think there is a very positive sense of teamwork from the skaters, and how wonderful that both German teams here are competing and supporting each other to dizzier heights, hopefully.
Yeah, it's just so interesting as I watch this and dissect it. You're not paying attention necessarily to the detail or the technical stuff. That's your job. But, you know, so watching this, it gets complicated, because if you're offbeat here and you're panicking because you can't say, I'll just cut this element, I'll just take this corner over here, or you cut these steps out like you can in singles. That's easy.
Absolutely. There's a mistake happens in singles, and
whatever. You'll
deal with it.
Yeah, exactly, but not here. And
each step within the Argentine tango has a very definite and clear number of counts.
Twizzles were good, I think.
Yeah. So it was a good job, and you can see here musicality was evident within the Twizzles. There was phrasing within, and that's something that all of the ice dance teams would be very eager to make evident and obvious to the judging panel, that there is phrasing, musical phrasing for each and every element.
I thought you said freezing, which is true.
That's how we are.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores for Latvia and Jan. Season's best. Wow, 50.79. Couple fist pumps in the kiss and cry. They're thrilled with that score, so they should be. Nicely done as they take a 10-point lead. Of course, only the second team out. But when you have your season's best, you have to be happy with that.
Absolutely. Well done to the team. The next team competed in Courchevel in the first Junior Grand Prix of this series, and since that event, they have had 5 days of training on the ice.
Oh my gosh. Not easy. Laura, 16, Kevin, 19 years old. They will skate flamenco to start with, and then into the tango. Now, Mark, tell our audience a little bit about the challenges they've had with getting ice time in training.
It is truly mind-blowing. This is a team representing Ireland, place of birth in Dublin, and they don't have access to ice. I caught them, I think, yesterday in the training rink, and they said that since that last event, Courchevel, end of August, they've had 5 days of training. They train off the ice and they work on the floor, but 5 days of training and significant improvement since...
I was about to say that. I'd say I've seen significant... And when you feel yourself getting a little bit better, you dared to believe that, okay, maybe I can get better if I get more ice time and whatnot. But 5 days and that improvement, well done.
Absolutely. And to me, it's evident that there is decent skating skill. There's an awareness of rebend, the bend before the push. There's an awareness of decent technique. There was some good musicality as well. There was a construction in the composition which was, really respectable. There was awareness. Even here, the diagonal step sequence started on phrase. There's good input. There's just so little time.
Well, that's the whole thing. If you don't have time to learn to point your toes and to stretch your free legs and all the small details, the deep edges and whatnot, then how can you get better? But this team with the 5 days has improved without question. And of course, their season's best was 20.36, and we should see a higher score here now. We'll wait and find out in just a few moments.
And I think as we look now, Kevin had a wobble here, that the twizzles weren't successful. I seem to remember in Courchevel, I think he got level 4 either in the free dance or in the rhythm dance for the twizzle. So level might not be better, but just the general overall energy of the team.
Yeah, and that is a reverse direction. Twizzle for anyone is difficult, especially for someone who doesn't get much ice time, right?
Yeah.
So, I know. I think well done. They have smiles on their face. This is an improvement and a more positive experience for them. And now, will they be able to get more ice time? Is the question.
Well, and they've been working with Estonian dance coaches, Yerevan and Tavirand, so they're eager to get as much input as they can, and hopefully they'll just get the ice time.
Well, let's take a look at their scores and see if they've improved. They have. Season's best at 22.39. That's a positive to walk away with. You see the smiles on their face. That's what the Junior Grand Prix is all about. A team that does not have the same resources and opportunity at training, but they come here and experience this. That's nice to see.
From the Irish team of Hegarty and Hegarty to Great Britain's Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez coming into this event with a completely different approach from the Irish team, eager to medal again following their silver at their first Junior Grand Prix.
And they'll skate the flamenco to start with, do a tango, and they'll finish back with the flamenco. Well, you clearly see the difference in experience and strength and confidence and basic skating skills, and this team is obviously well trained and have the facility and the opportunities to be at this level.
Absolutely, and gosh, just such incredible, passionate commitment and interpretation from the very start. Just a quantum leap in the standard difference between the newcomers that we saw, the Irish team, and just unfortunate for Phoebe that she had the mistake in the twizzles at the end of the program, because that was really very, very special. But unfortunately, the twizzles will have a negative grade of execution, and I think Phoebe potentially just down at level 1. That said, of this partnership, Phoebe, the less experienced. James, I remember James coming to Junior Grand Prix with his previous partner maybe 6 years ago, and he much more experienced, but he's found a partner in Phoebe that matches his ability to interpret as well. They make a really brilliant team.
He has really improved. He reminds me a little bit of John Kerr. I mean, not
the hair as well.
The hair, was hanging down the forehead, the whole thing, whatever. But there's an intensity there, and I notice it because, sometimes you look at the team because they're exactly the same. Sometimes you gravitate to the woman because she might be a little bit stronger in performance, or you gravitate to the man or whatever. So it's kind of equalizing this team a little bit.
Absolutely, and I think it's very exciting. They're the first team from Great Britain to medal on the Junior Grand Prix with the silver medal that they secured at the Czech skate, and it's just an exciting future for them.
This is a critical competition because they're second. If they were first, okay, you've got a little leeway, but being second, they need a second or a first to guarantee their spot.
Yeah, and that was something that was factored into their decision making as to which Grand Prix they competed at next, and we'll just see now from Phoebe.
Right there, yeah.
A problem, but she's such a special skater, and they will be eager to try to secure that Junior Grand Prix final place because that has so many repercussions on their season, and they'll be eager to try and put down performances that can make them considered as a junior world medalist team.
Well, 65.19 is their season and personal best. They're looking to get close to that. They're going to need to in order to be in the upper group. There's a couple other really good teams here. Of course, last year's world silver medalist from Canada, Nadia Bashenka, Peter Beaumont. Of course, he's British as well.
Yeah.
Right? The Brits have invaded here. And so there's going to be some good competition here, no question. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores for Phoebe and James. 64.17, just a bit shy. Yeah, it looks a sigh of relief by Phoebe. Going, okay.
Mixed with frustration at what it might have been.
What it might have been. But that will put them in first place, at least for the moment. A little safety valve there, and hopefully they'll be in striking distance at the end of this event.
From Germany,
Group number 2 on the ice for their warm-up. Now, Mark, we don't have any questions for you.
No, I don't think we've had any questions come through, so please do get in touch with us.
Okay, we were talking about that at breakfast. So, folks, for those that are listening, okay. So we're going to teach you, we're going to tell you a little bit, during today and our further broadcast about the challenges of commentating. Well, we love commentating. That's easy. You can hear that in our voice, without question. But we can't get the stories and the research and the background of everyone. So we're asking for your help.
Yes.
If you, or mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa are watching online, and you see your kids here, your grandchildren, whatever, and you have a story, okay, like a family story, and about the kids that you'd like us to bring forward, please send your information in. Or because it's so difficult, we want to watch skating and we want to appreciate where they're at, but we also want to get to know these people as people, what the human aspect of them is. So sometimes getting a little background from family members and whatnot is great. Now we have to check that out, make sure it's from a real family member. Yeah, exactly. But we're happy to pass things on, especially during the ice resurfacing times and of course, on warm-ups as well. So help us out, do a better job.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's, as we touched on, here in Gdansk, there are 146 different entries. So more skaters than that, because obviously in the pairs and the dance team, there were 2 in each entry. And just so many humans and so many amazing stories. And we don't know the stories. We don't have time. Ted and I are happily watching all the event, but we're kind of stuck when it comes to the event.
Oh, yeah, we love doing this, but we're really, when we do get out and get to speak with some of the people, they're fascinating.
Amazing
it's
stories.
Amazing stories, and that's just golden, right? We want to have that information, and we want to make sure we're accurate, because what happens was, give a little bit more education. We have a bio that the Federation sent into the ISU. The ISU then processes that bio, updates it from a statistical perspective, and pass it on to us. Now, if the Federation or the parents or the athletes or the coaches do not fill that information out accurately, we're reading what they've given us.
Yeah.
Right? So we hope that everyone does a good job at filling out their bios, that's for sure. And we also ask if there's further information or interesting hobbies that they have. They have a room for hobbies on the bio sheet. They don't go into a lot of detail, of course, on that. So, help us tell a better story. We're looking forward to your questions and your input and your stories, to share, and so everybody can enjoy this a little bit more.
Absolutely. And, as we talked about yesterday, we're spectating some amazing skating. We're analysing and critiquing to some extent what happens on the ice, but our appreciation for what happens on the ice is so much deeper when we know about the level of commitment that has gone in, or even stories. I spoke about the representatives from Ireland who
the Haggertys,
they get to skate hardly ever. That's fascinating insight.
Yeah.
So some might tune in and see a team that potentially might find themselves bottom of the pile in terms of the result, but that's made all the more.
They'll realize that performance was brilliant considering their situation. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then for those that, we've just seen phenomenally good skating from Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez, knowing that they are trying to compete for a place in the Junior Grand Prix final gives you an insight. Maybe that helps us understand why maybe Phoebe had more pressure coming into the event, and that could have impacted the Twizzles. We don't know. It's just the more backstories we have, the more exciting it is.
Exactly. We try to be as accurate as we possibly can, and we can speculate from a competitive perspective to a certain degree, but certainly, knowing more about the athletes, about their homes and their brothers and their sisters and their moms and their dads and the hobbies that they love and the schooling and all that kind of stuff adds a richness to our coverage of these people, because, we're watching skating, but they're people. And we want to pass that on, that's for sure. And so anyways, there's our story. There's our lecture.
Yeah. Fuel us with your intel.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't be a spy for everybody.
Yeah, well, you're pretty good. You're not bad. But you're not so much undercover, because you're always fancy dressed, and you look like you're going to go on the tennis court today at breakfast. I mean,
being Roger Federer today.
Yeah, exactly. I was just jealous, that's all.
But it intimidated the interview. We tried to get an interview today, and we did. And
Sylvia
Novak-Trabaska, who is a former junior world champion, she's an ISU technical specialist and a coach here, and she said, "Oh, you're all fancy dressed. I don't know if I could do that."
She said, "I'm wearing the sleeping bag."
But it's very cold here.
Yeah, it's very, very cold. Yeah, exactly. A lot of fun.
Oh, good.
We love the sport, love the people, and we're very lucky. We're very privileged to be able to do this. You know that, Mark.
Oh, completely. It really is a privilege.
Here we go. Been asked to remove themselves from the rink. Start group number 2 in the rhythm dance, day 2 of week 4 on the Junior Grand Prix.
And the first team after warm-up will be the second German ice dance team. Same coaches as the first. Carla Maria Carr, 15-year-old, and 20-year-old Kai Hofer-Richter.
Well, 58.69, they earned that in Riga, where they were 5th in that event, looking to get closer to the podium as they skated tango and Milongo. a nice composition. There's some really nice work in there. You know, German ice dancing in juniors, you're talking about, is starting to really improve.
Yeah, we saw the winners in Riga, Daria Grum and Michael Savitsky, champions there, and Pierre Carla, Maria Karl and Kai Hofrichter continuing to showcase the quality that helped them secure a top 5 place at that same event. Unfortunately, it seems like the twizzles are being problematic for the women today at the event.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, once the twizzle goes off, particularly in the opposite direction, then quite often, at least in juniors, the next twizzle is also affected. It's really hard mentally to recover from, oh my gosh, I lost that twizzle, right?
And the impact, the skaters will be so acutely aware of the impact, and the loss of balance within the twizzle, depending on how many rotations are done before that balance happens, has an impact on the level, and then they're out of sync with their partner. They may be behind they've lost a beat of music, and so the brain is working 100 miles an hour to try to catch up, and it's really difficult to reconnect.
Generally in seniors, they are more experienced and handle that a little bit better, but in juniors, I see that has an effect. There's no question of that. And as we take a look at some parts of the dance here, I thought they had really good soft knees and some beautifully held edges. And here's this looked awesome. First set of twizzles right on top. Here we go, and then the loss right there.
She manages to, it looks like she managed to get a level 2, so 2 features.
Yeah.
This, the curve lift. Kai in the inside spread eagle difficult position, and this their difficult exit. Both of these skaters accomplished pianists as well, as we've talked about with some other of the skaters. And
yeah, we were talking about, we don't know the hidden talents of some of these athletes. We were talking about Zach Laga from Canada, former ice dance junior champion of the world, and he is a concert pianist. And I didn't know that, and I was doing an interview with him, and this came out, and I looked on YouTube, and thought, oh my gosh, he's out on stage in front of a whole orchestra just pounding away that piano. Phenomenal. And many of these athletes have other talents or hobbies and things that they do we don't know about. We want to know more about that as well.
Absolutely, and both these athletes, Carla and Kai, brilliant skaters, brilliant pianists, and amazing human beings, finding themselves here competing, representing their nation on this prestigious stage, and it's fantastic stuff. And they, I'm sure, will be reliving the frustrations of the twizzles.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're just here to remind them how brilliant they are.
There you go.
They were 4th in the rhythm dance in Riga. They dropped a place in a very closely fought competition there.
Well, 58.69 is their personal best. That's a 54.63. So didn't get to their personal best range, but this will put them currently into 2nd place. Here's a look at the top 5 teams so far in this event.
Good energy between team and coaches. 16-year-old Dana Sabatini Special and 15-year-old Nicholas Bulow from Canada.
Coached by Mitch and David Islam. It's outside of Toronto and Barrie, Ontario. And they'll skate the rhythm dance here to a tango and the Spanish waltz. Well, what a nice job by this young team. My gosh, Dana and Nicholas. You know, they skated really closely together. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, their tracking of each other was excellent. It was really, really good. This is a young team. They don't have any record. I'm looking at the bio sheet. There's no record here, right? So
I am so impressed.
You're gobsmacked.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked. There I am. The gobsmacked again. Just so many little novelties and touches. I love some of the changes of hold, some of the holds that they used in transitions. The holds within the second section of the Argentine tango were fantastic. The phrasing was great. What makes them... we all come with preconceived ideas of what we think is great. This is a team where Nicholas is a little younger than Dana. That's not as normal. Normally, generally the man is a little bit older. There's a big height discrepancy in the team.
They look like a pair team
they
start
do.
with. Yeah, but it worked.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed the work that they did, and even more exciting when it's not maybe conventional.
Well, I think I agree with you. I think it's unique and different. This team looks different than the other ones, and it's special.
Yeah, different, but yet ticking the boxes for what the judges want. The ice coverage that they had within the twizzles, fantastic. I didn't catch the second section of the Argentine tango. I wish I had. There were some wonderful changes of hold.
Catch means replay. He's cutting the replays. Right?
That's me.
You're not catching a ball here.
I'm responsible for the replay, and I didn't do a good job, Ted. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I thought they did a great job. I haven't seen this team a lot because I don't live in the East, and we haven't had enough competitions yet in Canada. And I'm really, really, really thrilled because they're unique, they're fresh, and they're different.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Their coach David was explaining that he's taught Nicholas he and Mitch Islam have taught Nicholas from a young age, and so the pride the coaches must have in seeing the student compete on the Junior Grand Prix is wondrous.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores for this young team. 50.40. Yeah, they got it. Okay, side head. Okay, okay. Now they're happy. High five.
We'll accept that,
and that'll put them currently into fourth place. There's a look at your top 5 teams so far.
Przed Państwem reprezentanci Stanów Zjednoczonych. On the ice, representing the United States.
We saw this team compete in Riga. Isabella Sukovskaya. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Christina Bland and Matthew Sperry from the States, taught by Igor Spielband.
And we'll skate the rhythm dance to a tango and flamenco. Well, one of the things that stood out for me with this team is how aggressive skaters they are, but equally so. When they power out of the corner, they meet power out of the corner. Their acceleration is huge, but equal. And quite often you'll see one stronger than the other kind of pulling them along.
Yes.
Not in this case. They're equal in that area, for sure. And Christina really reaches out in her performance.
Yeah, fantastic team. And I chatted to them yesterday, and they were explaining that they're both studying at university, and they're both having to manage their university schedule and timetable. They're studying different subjects, but they're having to manage their individual studies to be able to co-align and train together. And just in chatting to them, such a mature and articulate and lovely couple that are detailing what challenges they face to be able to compete at this level and to be able to compete as well as they do. You can see here in the Argentine tango the quality of edge work. Impressive.
Yeah, here the twizzles, good unison, good distance between the two. Got through that reverse direction twizzle into the third set. They are in both at level 4s with a 1.26 plus GOE, so 8.60 total score for those twizzles. That was well done. Now they do not have a season or personal best, so this is a new team. They've done very well.
And with the coaching staff that they enjoy, no surprise to see the incredible quality here with Natalia Anenko, who, when we were chatting with them yesterday, I was raving about their coach's beautiful skating, a skater from the late 80s and early 90s.
I remember
just beautiful skating.
Absolutely.
And that influence, surely one of the reasons that Christina and Matthew have showcased such a brilliant debut on the Junior Grand Prix.
Well, let's get their season's best right now. Right? Here it is, coming up 54.45, and they seem pretty happy with that. Nice entry into the Junior Grand Prix. That'll put them in third place for the moment. Let's look at your leaderboard. The top 5 teams so far in the event.
Przed Państwem reprezentanci Estonii. On the ice, representing Estonia, Izabela Sikorskaya and
This, the Estonian team we saw in Riga. Izabela Sikorskaya, Trevor Sebastian Makasari.
And a bigger age range difference here, 14 and 19, not a big deal at all, but quite often we see them, more similar age range difference in pairs more than in dance. They will skate a tango and a fuego. We could see that with Isabella and Trevor, they're in the early stages of the development of the dance team. Of course, the skating skills need some work in there, but they're together and working hard at improving the basic skating skills, and that we will see throughout the year.
Absolutely, and we saw them in Riga, and in the rhythm dance in Latvia, they did finish 14th of the 14 teams, but significant progress in the commitment here, and looks like things have improved insofar as there's a rotational lift coming up at level 3 as opposed to level 1 in Riga, but not just from a technical element scores perspective, just much more commitment from the component scores as well. As we look at this, the Argentine tango, all of the teams have to perform the same steps, same edges, same timing, and that just gives us an indication of the level of flow and gliding skating skills that the various different teams have. Here, the twizzles, you can see the leg catch, one of the features, arm above the head as a feature to try attain higher level, hands extended in front. The various different criteria that all of the dance teams work towards. This now, second section of Argentine tango, and as I say, something all the teams have to do the exact same steps, exact same timing, and this just gives you an indication of the amount of ice coverage that the skaters have, and we can see here with Isabel and Trevor the awareness that they just need to get down deeper in the knees, and it's just been a couple of weeks since the first competition, very little training time available to them to make that strides forward, but they know what's necessary.
Yeah, and the thing in juniors is that these teams can come together quite quickly with not a lot of experience and get on the Junior Grand Prix, and you might see that, and they might be good individual skaters, but they're learning to skate together. Remember, not that the age difference is a big deal. It's not, but it's 19 and 14 years of age, and they're both growing, and they're getting together and starting a dance team, and this is a process that takes time.
And we have to hope, they look smart. I'm delighted to see that their smiles and the kiss and cry. We have to hope now for Isabel and Trevor, they will have age eligibility as a junior team for the next at least one more season after this. Let's hope that they build from this and grow and develop and use this as a platform for which to make further strides forward.
Yeah, and looking to top their season's best score of 29.51 for the rhythm dance, and hopefully they can do that here, so progress will have been made.
And with the strong competition on the junior scene in ice dance this year, great for them to be alongside the likes of Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez, who lead the field at this stage, to be able to sense that level of depth of edge and the amount of commitment to the curves that a more experienced team has.
You know, when you're the student, you are taught by words. Maybe sometimes by video, by words. But when you are at a competition, you're taught by what you see. And then what you see is interpreted in your own mind as to the words. And usually they relate to the same thing the coach has been saying for a year. Right?
Exactly.
But,
and that ties back in with what we've said on other events, that being in an environment whereby you are surrounded by people stronger than you has a huge acceleration in your progress. For this team, Isabella and Trevor, they perhaps aren't exposed to that level of deep edges and speed that others might get, and so this competition serves as not just an event but a much more training experience.
And there are some people who can survive in their own environment because they're so determined, and they may study a lot of video or they may go to competitions or whatever, and they like to train by themselves. But generally speaking, you are affected by the environment in which you live, and that can be a positive if you've got strong teams around you as well. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores. Season's best, 29.84, so some progress has been made. An experience gained.
Rhythm dance, 29.84 total points, which is their new season's best. They are currently 7th place. Przed Państwem reprezentanci Francji. On the ice representing France,
We've already seen one team who have secured a silver medal on the Junior Grand Prix Series this year. And now this team, Selina Fragi and Jean-Han Fourneau, were silver medalists in Courchevel.
59.57, good score in week one in Courchevel, looking to top it right here. Okay, aside from the really strong skating skills, what a unique version of music. That's in a tango, but that original piece is not a tango, but that is played in a tango.
Isn't it fascinating that that's the standout for us both? And both are note-taking. This composition arranged by Hugo Chouinard, who's done a brilliant job for so many skaters in playing with music all over the world. And I've really enjoyed their coach, Karine Haribert's teams this year. They're a little bit quirky, a little bit unique, a little bit novel, and the combination of that composition alongside a brilliant music editing by Hugo Chouinard. I was just so conscious that the music, he dropped the energy within the music, within the Argentine
I heard that,
tango.
yeah, that dropped right, yeah.
And it was really cool. It wasn't like a mistake. It was intentional.
It was intentional. And it was on a particular step.
Yeah, it was brilliant. These twizzles.
Amazing. They're 4 and 4, obviously, with a 2.40 GOE. That's the highest junior GOE I've seen for a while. And so very strong skaters, just amazing. And back to that, music, obviously, and Hugo out of Montreal does a lot of work for teams and single skaters as well around the world. Creative and innovative himself.
And here on the straight line lift, this difficult exit we saw in Courchevel, the first Junior Grand Prix, you can see that with time and repetition and training, that's developed a lot more confidence.
This is more, now maybe I'm comparing because the rest of the teams are in development, but this is more of a senior team, really, in many ways. You can see the basics, strength, qualities are there. Looking to beat their 59.57, and they do by a lot. It's 65.23. Awesome. And back to Karen. I don't know. I wouldn't use the word quirky. I just use French innovative. They're always, okay, maybe they're quirky, but they're always different. They're always approaching things differently.
I've got some questions for her. She's a great character.
Yeah.
We need to get her under my detective radar.
Absolutely. Really enjoy that work. Getting better and stronger all the time. Nice to see them on top, at least for the moment. Some good teams yet to skate, of course. So, just looking up on, I'm just going to go real slow here, Mark. Don't worry, don't panic. Here we go. We got it. Okay, you finally get up on your phone. Mr. Film Boy, what are we going to see this morning?
So, today we were treated to some more coverage, and we look ahead to World Ice Skating Day on the 4th of December. And if you haven't heard Ted and I referencing this, it's an initiative that is new by the International Skating Union, where we hope to have the entire world celebrating our wonderful sport. And then we head to the first of today's International Skating Union Elements Explained CDs, where we'll have a look at the loop jump. And finally, we will look back at some coverage from Gdansk. The coverage from yesterday's highlights from what was a very long, very eventful, and very exciting.
But today's even longer.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a short break during the Ice Cream Service. Enjoy the film. We'll be back.
Hello everybody and welcome to the ISU Center of Excellence in Bergamo. My name is Franca Bianconi. I'm a figure skating coach and an ISU technical specialist. Today's topic will be the loop jump, which can be single, double or triple. In any case, it's a very, very interesting jump and basic jump for figure skaters. One of the basic moments in the loop jump is the takeoff, of course. And in this takeoff, we want to have all the weight on the skating side, so on the skating hip, with the right side, in this case, really well pulled back, and the left side in front. So once we are very good with the alignment on a good outside edge and the weight on the right side, on the skating side, we want to bend, of course, and then stretch for the takeoff. And when we take off, positions of the legs, movement of the legs is important. The right leg is pressed down while the left leg is coming up in an H position. So this is very important to hold this H position. Thank you for watching us today. If you liked the video, please leave us some comments, and till the next time. Ciao!
"49 women competed in the largest competition we have seen on the Junior Grand Prix series so far, with Chaeyoung Kim from Korea opening her short program with a glorious triple lutz, triple toe combination that helped her secure the bronze medal position going into tomorrow's free skate. Heavy favourite and winner in Ostrava, Mao Shimada displayed consistent quality to solidify the reason that she is creating such buzz and excitement in her home country of Japan. A quarter rotation short in her triple lutz prevents her from continuing her winning streak, but she's currently just under 1.5 points off first place. And that pole position belongs to 17-year-old from Sendai, Mona Chiba, who was the only skater to top the 70 points in an exquisite short program to Schindler's List. Fabulous skating skills were met with level 4 on all elements to lead the field in her first ever Junior Grand Prix. The largest pairs competition of the Junior Grand Prix series so far took place today in Gdansk at the Solidarity Cup, with Yerevan and Kopta from Ukraine securing a 2.5 point personal best to find themselves in third place after the short program heading into tomorrow's free skate. Students of 2018 Olympic champion Bruno Masso demonstrated massive improvements since their first Junior Grand Prix just 1 month ago, with a whopping 12.5 points new personal best, putting them just over a point off first place for France's Oksana Vuillemaz and Flavien Gignot. The leaders lived up to expectations as favourites entering the event, with Anastasia Golyubeva and Hector Giodopoulos-Moore winning the pairs short program with a score of 58.03 points. The reigning World Junior Silver medalists start the season with aspirations of turning that World Junior Silver golden by the time of the Junior World Championships in Calgary next March. The final event of the day saw 28 skaters compete in the men's short program, and Italy's Raffaele Francesco Zic followed the success of his compatriot Nicolai Mamola, who won in Riga, to amass 70 points, a new personal best, and third place after the first section of the competition. Exquisite skating saw America's Joseph Klein gain the highest program component scores of the event. Easier jump content didn't stop him securing silver medal position at this stage, thanks to truly beautiful movement in his I Hear a Symphony short program by Cody Fry. Francois Pitot won the men's short program convincingly with the highest score of any skater for the entire day, getting 72.22 points in his medallion short program. He enjoys a 2-point lead and a day off before competing for gold in the men's free skate on Saturday.
The following couples may now take the ice for a 5 minutes warm-up. From Turkey, Julian Ostrava and Agata Bergov.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gdansk, Poland. Day 2 of competition here on the ISU Grand Prix, week number 4. I'm your host, Ted Barton, along with Mark Hunready. We are witnessing the third group taking to the ice for their warm-up in the rhythm dance.
And as we've seen on the Junior Grand Prix series this year, and all the years that Ted has so wonderfully covered the sport, an ice dance warm-up now with 5 teams is a pretty scary place to be.
I was wondering if you're going to go there. It is. And we saw that a little bit on the first warm-up and whatnot. And, you know, you're an ice dancer. You get caught up in the emotion of things. You don't pay attention to what's going around you. Is that right?
I think that ice dancers are trained and taught to try to attract attention and gain the energy in the venue. And so each of them is vying for the judges' attention as we look at world junior medalists from Canada on our screen. And they will be... Their mission statement here is to gain gold, to secure gold medal, and they're going to do all that they can to possibly achieve that. Other teams have different objectives, and everybody's just a little bit single-minded.
And it's hard when you're looking in your partner's eyes and doing the whole thing, and then all of a sudden another team arrives in your pathway, right? Difficult to track the other teams. Pairs are much better. They have to be, and their elements take a lot longer to set up, so they understand the patterns a bit better.
And the pairs' patterns have a more consistent route to take, whereas the ice dancers will be clockwise, anti-clockwise, up the rink, down the rink, all over especially in the free dance.
And there's a look at the second Canadian team of Haley Yu and Brendan Jiang from western part of Canada. They'll skate back-to-back, the 2 Canadian teams, Nadia and Peter from eastern Canada and Toronto. Nadia
and Peter, third place bronze medalists in Estonia at the Junior World Championships earlier this year. They are the only medalists from last season's Junior World Championships returning in the junior ranks.
And they're really a fun couple. I've done a couple of interviews and things with them, and they're different personalities, totally different personalities. Lots of fun. It just works really well. And, of course, we talked a little bit about Nadia's grandparents who live in Ukraine, are taking the train or have taken the train. They might be here in the building right now to Poland. They don't speak any English, and they are here from Ukraine to see their granddaughter skate, and that is a wonderful story in itself.
Yeah, just amazing. And Nadia, I hadn't met Nadia. I've known Peter since he was a very young skater, but hadn't met Nadia, and what a vivacious character she is.
She has got bags of personality and lots of fun.
Yes, we were joking about the support team, and the Canadians were out in force yesterday. In total respect to Nadia and Peter, because I was very conscious that they were here late into the evening supporting the Canadian men competing last night, and I thought that was really admirable when they will have been focused on their own job today.
We've gone through many different eras in Canada in skating, and our best eras were with team support, and so that has been reignited, I would say, to a certain degree within our next-gen programs, where the team is a real team. Because although it's an individual sport, being part of something bigger than yourself is important, because you feel the support when you most need it. And so they help each other, and they skate for each other in a rink that basically is kind of empty, right? Yeah. So there's a strategy behind it. It makes it more fun for the athlete, and it makes it more supportive, of course.
And what I really admire, there's so much professionalism now in sport, and with that in mind, so often the coaches and the team behind athletes will be saying, right, you need to make sure you get your rest time. So after you've done your official practice or your event, then there's the cool down, then there's the refueling, and then you go back to the hotel and rest. And I just thought it was good to see Nadia and Peter last night, because you're humans, you're here to have a good time. It's not all about winning.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't have to be exclusive from each other.
No, totally. Well, first of all, it's a junior event. Second of all, there's lots of time here. You're not sleep deprived, really. You've got time to rest when you need to.
Unlike us.
Yeah, unlike us, exactly. So, but, it's great to see team support. The Americans do that as well, and some of the other teams. And it's really good to see that from different federations happening. And it happens a little bit more in the juniors than it does in the seniors, and it's great to see.
And I suggested to Nadia in particular that the benchmark is Kayla Smith, the American pair skater who won in Riga. She really was incredible and hilarious in her commitment to being a cheer squad leader, and Nadia has to contend with that. Let's see who we have to go forth in next week's event, and in Egna as well, as to who will win the cheer squad.
There you go. You're sending out the you're laying the gauntlet down right now, aren't you?
Exactly.
Okay, here we go. Group number 3 in the rhythm dance, the first event of a long day. Hope we're loving what we do. A wide shot here of the arena, the Olivia Arena in Gdansk.
On the ice representing Turkey,
From Turkey, Jillian Ottenpriver and Agahan Bergdoktol.
17, 19 years old. 41.02 personal best at the Junior World Championships last season. They will skate the rhythm dance to flamenco first and then the tango. Well, some nice work there. Jillian was born in Miami in the United States. Agahan in Ankara, but they're coached by John Kerr.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of influences, just proving that ice dance really is multinational, and so many of the teams, combinations of different nationalities here, representing Turkey.
And John Kerr, of course, British national champion, and you know, a colleague of yours. We're going to speak to him a little later in the show during the warm-up of the final group.
Yeah, really excited to get John on the mic. He, a former European medalist, top 5 in the world as an ice dancer with his sister Sinead, and a great influence now for Gillian and Agahan. Great for them to have that influence from ISU Championship medalists. They also work with Alper Ukar, who is pivotal in some of the rules being made, and ice dance technical committees as well. So great influences for the team as we see their Argentine tango. And here the twizzles, just Gillian struggling a little bit to find the rotation, and then a little wobble on the backhand side here. So she's just coming in at level 1 on the twizzles. Obviously very capable of level 4 twizzles, I think, for Gillian, just not today, and that's the case for a few of the women so far competing.
It's been like that. Once they lose their balance, it's just really hard to get it back, so those levels have been a little bit lower than normal. But they also showed some really good depth of edge in some parts of the dance, and there's some parts that got a little disconnected, but other parts were very strong.
You can see that there's good information, good choreography from John and Alper as well. All the right aspects, all the right ingredients, just time. And that seems to be the thing that we can recognize within ice dance. There isn't the same stratospheric movement up the rankings as there might be sometimes in the single skating. Ice dance is much more about the longevity of a team, and we're seeing that on the senior ranks as well. Senior ice dance teams who are staying in the competitive field for a decade.
Beside the word juniors now is the word time, because the age has changed things. We know that dance takes a little bit longer to get through time, experience and time, and patience. So that's what it is. That's the reality of juniors as they graduate into seniors. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores for Gillian and Agahan from Turkey, 41.64, and that will put them currently into 7th place.
Rhythm dance 41.64 total points. They are currently 7th place. Przed Państwem reprezentanci Kanady. On the ice representing Canada,
Haley Yu and Brennan Giang, 17 and 19 years old from Canada.
Well, they look to really come out stronger than they did in Courchevel. They weren't really happy with that level of skating. The students as well, so they have to juggle that schedule, put a lot more time into this, and hoping that will translate into a higher score as they will skate to a tango 53.51 the first minutes. Well, Mark, I'm not sure what the score will be. That was significantly better than what we saw in Courchevel.
Yeah, completely agree. It was amazing to see the difference and so much attack. And attack is something that a tango so often requires, but looked like these two are on a mission.
They were completely on a mission. They were not happy with their performance in Courchevel. Came back, dedicated more time in training and more intensity, if you will. And I saw that every day, and we can see the result here. No matter where the score is, that is a huge improvement. Their season's best was 53.51, so certainly looking to top that. And I'm pretty sure they will do that here today.
And they looked incredibly physically well trained and fit to be able to maintain that level of commitment and energy. And interesting to see that both skaters rotating clockwise comfortably to start the sequential twizzles, and they did that in the rotational lift as well, which is a highlight.
You kind of felt comfortable on those twizzles because you didn't feel like, oh, you're going to shake, and they didn't. And, you know, the thing is that this team has Megan Wing and Aaron Lowe as their coaches, and they have many strengths, but one of the greatest strengths is the teams are always fit and always trained and always prepared. And so that was not a surprise.
And here also, the flow and glide through the rocker as part of their step sequence was impressive too. And here, like, this was later in the program, and the team was still, you can see from Brendan, it really felt like they were out to showcase something, and it was fun to watch.
They were determined, and they have to feel good coming off the ice with this. There's a little bit of stumble there in the pickup, but he recovered really nicely in a beautiful level 4 rotational lift at the end of the program. All the elements are in the plus GOE, so that's good. There's no minuses whatsoever. Plus 1.34 on the midline steps as well at level 2. Let's take a look. The score is 53.51. They want to beat that. They did. Season's best at 57.40. And expression of, okay, that's good. Small clap there from Aaron as well, and as they take over third place. Mission accomplished so far.
Starting the performance early for the favorites in this event, Nadia Barshinska and Peter Beaumont from Canada.
Well, they put the pressure on themselves to take the lead if they can, as they will skate a Spanish waltz and tango. I don't know, because I'm not a dance expert, and I don't want to be biased, but I thought it was pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. More than pretty good, absolutely. And I just think wonderful to see the use of the Spanish waltz, as we've discussed with the rhythm dance this year for juniors. The skaters must perform a tango, and they must choose to put that with a different dance style. The Spanish waltz that they started the program with was so well interpreted, and so I thought the pride and the borderline arrogance, which I think the music and the style dictates from Peter, was perfectly pitched.
Yeah, you know, and I one of the things that really struck me was that, you know, in dance, particularly in juniors, you know, you can have good edges, you can have good skaters, you can do all the technical stuff, but there might be little details. I didn't see any miss of a hand grab or an attitude or a look or a feel or a nuance. It was all there.
Yeah, and fundamentally brilliant skating skills, obviously, but the layering with the performance, the layering with the connection between the team. Even this, it's just a 2-foot glide.
But perfect unison.
Absolutely perfect with the music, perfect unison with one another. Great body alignment within it as well. And this was their opening element. So they started with a midline step sequence. And if you just see there, a clean counter turn, but everything musically phrased.
Well, both were in at level 3, but the plus GOE of 2.23 really high.
A lovely clean rocker there from Peter. And here you see within that hold, the couple of the holds within that element are free choice and choosing to
Great twizzles here. They sped that up by just bending their free leg and increase the speed. Unison, look how close they are as well. Like
a
not
lovely
a wobble.
little heel toe tap there as well. Those little fine detail touches.
Yeah, those are the nuances, the details.
I think moving forward, with the Argentine tango, I'm sure that this will continue to develop more and more speed as well. And they'll be looking to get this key point, the third and fourth key point of the first section, that wasn't called.
Well, they got 6 out of the 8 key points, so it's pretty good. Love that lift at the end, rotation lift.
That lift reminds me of Piper Gillis and Popquarrie, the Canadian former world bronze medalists who they train with.
Brilliant work. There's Yoris Ozguliev in the Kiss and Cry, part of that great coaching team in Toronto. Looking to top their score of 63.45, and there it is, 67.35. That takes the lead for Nadia and Peter.
We saw Peter scrutinizing. We saw Peter with his glasses on when he was cheating on his friends.
Exactly, yeah. Great job.
Well done.
Przed Państwem reprezentanci Hiszpanii. On the ice, representing Spain, Yerevan and Raul Bermejo.
Spanish team, 17-year-old Yerevan Ogor and 20-year-old Raul Bermejo.
We'll see another Spanish waltz here, a tango, and then a paso.
So unfortunate for Yerevan and Raul, that rough fall and the rotational lift towards the end of the program.
And, you know, the rotational lift is done so beautifully most of the time, but you know that if you get a little off center carrying the woman, then that can start to wobble. And that wobble picks up momentum, and if you hit a toe pick, which I believe he did here, you lose control on that. Really unfortunate. Had, you know, pretty good program up to that point. You can see it's a young developing team here in ice dance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's rare. It's certainly rare that there are falls like that within the ice dance competition. But again, it serves to remind us that it's dangerous. And especially placing the lift towards the end of the program when fatigue has set in, there's more tiredness, there's more exhaustion. But then the music, I thought it was a great choice to use the Carmen Suite, which seemed to perfectly fit the requirements of the rhythm dance this year. They had the tango section and they had the waltz.
And I think that was the right piece for the stage of development they are. It's not too quick, not too fast, but gives it.
And you know, it's a Spanish team. It's in fitting with what they're trying to do. You can see here the opening element for Yerevan. A couple of wobbles and mistakes within the twizzles as well. I'm sure this team, though, inspired by what was an incredibly closely fought competition in Spanish senior dance between Olivia Smart and Adriana Diaz and Hurtado and Caliaban last year. And now this is the future of Spanish ice dance. They were at the ISU Development Seminar in Oberstdorf. As we look now, just see, just heels seem to catch. Yeah. At least he protected his partner.
Yeah, that was really good. It's like the pairs.
Yeah. And what was also lovely to hear was the support from, there are quite a few of the skaters now staying after they've competed, and great to hear the support as they are joined by Roxane Petitin, their coach.
It's the great thing in juniors. They are extremely supportive of one another. It's a family here in the juniors. I don't say it's a little unlike that in seniors. Okay, it's not bad, but it's a little bit more separate, a little bit more internally or privately focused. This is more of a family.
Yeah, everybody's living the same experience, and for some of these athletes, they won't even intend to go on and compete at the senior ranks.
True. That's true.
It's a hobby to some extent, and it's a life experience as opposed to it being your career and your job.
Okay, let's take a look at the scores for Yerevan and Raul from Spain in the rhythm dance. 32.73, and that will put this team currently into 11th place.
Yerevan Over and Raul from Spain have on rhythm dance 32.73 total points. They are currently in 11th place.
Another team who have already medalled on the Junior Grand Prix series this year. They were third in Riga, Maria Pinchuk and Nikita Pogorelov from the Ukraine.
59.82, their personal best in Riga. Looking to top that here and get on top of the podium, right on the podium, skating to a tango and flamenco. Well, Mark, I think this is the first team that got yeses on all the key points.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So that will bolster their technical element score. The technical panel looking at the steps which are assigned for the key points in the Argentine tango. For me then, technical element score looking favourable. Both skaters attaining a level 3 in the step sequence in the midline at the end of the program as well. So technical element score looking good. Program component scores also incredible, just not quite the same caliber of skating skill as the Canadians, Rushinska and Beaumont. But for me, I just so wondrous to see the reaction to securing that bronze medal in Riga. It was just really special, and we have to question what they've gone through. And
you can see the confidence now gained out of Riga into this event. They're hungry. They want another medal. They want to, get to the final, not only for themselves, but for their country and to inspire others.
And Mikita turned 20 on Saturday. So you can see that maturity and the difficult exit here as they head towards their twizzles. Just not sure if the arms were continuously moving, if that was one of the features for Maria within the twizzles, one of the Group B features. And it looks like I think she came up with a level 3, so
she did, yeah.
That will be relatively easy to rectify moving forward towards the rest of the season for a team like this. This the midline, and really impressive to be attaining a level 3 in this style B type step sequence.
Yeah, not easy at all. You rarely see a level 3, and I have not seen a level 4 on a midline step sequence. Maybe I have in juniors, but not often.
It's an extreme rarity. And for that to happen, the skater would need to have performed 5 types of difficult turns really cleanly. As you look at the bracket turn there for the team, the technical panel looking to see if the brackets, rocker turns, counter turns, choctaws, twizzles, and outside mohawks are executed on the deepest, cleanest, and most secure of edges. Proudly showcasing their Ukrainian team jackets for Maria and Mikita.
Well, their season best is 59.82. They'll beat that. Here it is. Season's best is 63.17. Good score, and that will move Maria and Mikita currently into 4th place. Certainly within striking distance, you can see how close it is. Just over 2 points up into the silver medal position, but a number of teams yet to come.
The following couples may now take the ice for a 5 minutes warm-up. From Poland, Sofia Gofa and Victor Kulesza. From the United States of America, Helena Carter and Pauline Corona. From the United States
Just a reminder that on the ice resurfacing after this group, you will be treated to the Kilt Boys. Both Mark and John Kerr will be on the headset. I'm going to probably leave the room. Just a little bit nervous. I'm not quite sure. But I think
like you've worked on the Junior Grand Prix for so many seasons now. You've open arms welcomed me, and now you're just thinking, okay, he's okay. I'm just a bit worried that 2 Scotsmen might be a little bit too much.
Listen, dinner the other night, I heard the 2 Scotsmen, and I thought, okay, this is going to be really entertaining. No, listen, these guys are great. They know a lot about the discipline of dance, of course. I have some great stories to share. I think you're really going to enjoy that discussion. You won't want to miss that. So after the ice resurfacing, or at the end of it, as we come into the Kerr and your own Mark Hanratty, I will be getting a hot cup of tea and with my fingers crossed, and I hope everything is safe. Should be a lot of fun. They're not wearing their kilts, by the way, today, but they should at some point get a picture. Yeah, it's great stuff.
And that's something that it's been wonderful to hear, Ted, about your eagerness and my shared eagerness to try to hear as many stories from as many different people here, and it's been very evident through the Junior Grand Prix series so far already how many brilliant competitive figure skaters and successful skaters have returned now to be here as coaches.
I have always felt a huge responsibility to our sport. My loyalty is to the sport first, then the ISU second. and then my country third, and my province fourth. I don't want to put that in order of preference. I say the reality is we should all be loyal to the sport and to the development of that, and that's what I felt was important in the ISU Junior Grand Prix, is that we help to build up the people that are participating in our sport, and and it's been a lot of fun to do that, and you can do that on the Junior Grand Prix. Senior is a little bit more difficult because it's televised and it's a different type of audience, a different type of show, if you will, what you have to do in the seniors. And sometimes they have lost a little bit of the way about the people, but I find television coverage much better, certainly now. And so, yeah, I always felt a big responsibility.
And I suppose, our sport has been an Olympic sport for so many decades now, and there's so many new Olympic sports coming in. There's so many exciting new types of sport that attract a youthful audience that are eager to follow it. And everybody involved here wants to support the sport to a wider audience as much as is possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is why it's so wonderful to see so many youngsters competing, so many young humans spending and devoting their lives to the acquisition of great skating skills at this elite stage. As we said before, 146 different entrants in this competition from so many different skating nations, 40 different skating nations, creating and cultivating good quality.
And you can't just sit back and hope that our sport gets recognized around the world and grows. You have to take action. And the ISU has been taking action, and I'm so thrilled with all of that that is happening in the e-learning field, if you will, initiative of the ISU to enhance. You'll see an interview a little bit later tonight, in fact, from the president of Skate Egypt about how they got their federation as a member of the ISU, and what this young woman is doing in the Middle East and in Africa to continue to expand the sport worldwide. And these are initiatives that the ISU is taking in partnership with other people. Fantastic, because our sport needs, sport had dropped off a little bit in North America, grown in Japan, it grew in Russia obviously as well, and so, but to expand this around the world, to have new countries, there needs to be new initiatives and new energy, and the ISU has been very supportive of that, and we'll have more to talk about that in the future. In the rest of today, in fact, we'll have some more information on that.
And it's obviously more possible for inclusion from other skating nations here on the Junior Grand Prix. There aren't minimum technical element scores required to attain for the skaters competing at this event, so it's an opportunity for then some lesser developed skating nations, skaters with less experience, to have the opportunity to soak up all this office.
It used to be that people, particularly commentators in television era, were so quick to judge the skating and say, well, that was terrible, and outfit is this and that. They would be very critical, obviously. And I think that has changed a little bit to be supportive of the people that are making the effort, and doing the work. And that's a good thing, and a more positive approach to the coverage of the sport and to the expansion of the sport worldwide. We need to grow, and we need to grow around the world. And that's the effort, and that's a little bit of this initiative here in the Junior Grand Prix as we enter group number 4. Take it away.
Next team taught by Sylvia Novak-Trabaska and Lloyd Jones, and we had the chance to chat to Sylvia earlier today. You'll be able to enjoy some of that interview as the weekend continues. Looking now at Sofia Dewal, 15-year-old from Poland, and Victor Kulesa.
Well, second Junior Grand Prix season. She's 15. He is 19, 45.54 personal best last season in the Baltic Cup here, skating to a tango and flamenco. Well, that was impressive.
It really, really was. Great musicality, great midline step sequence. And having chatted to their coach, Sylvia, just this morning, it was really, really wonderful, Ted. You would have loved to have heard Sylvia's appreciation, respect, and love for her students. It was really evident the care and compassion that she had for these two young skaters who she's working with as the next generation of Polish ice dancers. And Sylvia, their coach, was the junior world champion for Poland in 1994. And I suggested, well, will this team be the next to repeat that for Poland? And she was really just humble and knowing, well, they might or they might not, but I want them to be good, happy humans, and it was wonderful.
Well, 45.54 is their personal best. I think they will destroy that score here with that performance. That was tight and right on cue with every phrase of the music. Really well done. I have to say that I haven't seen a strong Polish team in juniors yet over the past couple of years, but we're starting to see that emerge now. And, of course, great work by Sylvia here.
And it's interesting to notice that within the Argentine tango, there was more, I wouldn't want to say old style, but there was more connection, more closeness between the team. Perhaps a little bit more of a style that was done in the past. Potentially less speed, flow and glide than some of the other teams, which may factor into the program component scores. However, for me, and I think definitely from what I'm hearing you say, Ted, a real appreciation for what they did with the musicality. This was great. The changes of hold throughout their Argentine tango, really impressive. And the couples allowed this season to play with the hold. They don't have to be restricted by the conventional holds, as you see this clever use
really
of
nice,
hold.
yeah, right. Nice change right in that corner there. No, I think they skated as well as they possibly could with what has been designed for them at this stage of their development. So you have to be thrilled with that, and you'll see an improved score for sure. So mission accomplished. It may not yet compete with the top teams, but it's on its way to closing the gap.
For sure. And Sylvia was the coach to Kalashek and Spodirev, who were Polish senior champions for a long time. They've now retired, and this is, as I say, the future of Polish
51.03, so that is a big improvement over their 45.564 or 54, and that puts them currently into 8th place.
Przed Państwem reprezentacji Stanów Zjednoczonych, on the ice representing the United States of America, Helena Carhart and Volodymyr Horovyi.
Helena Carhart and Volodymyr Horovyi from the United States of America.
First Junior Grand Prix season, they'll skate to a tango and flamenco. You know, Mark, what sort of captivated me in watching this team was there's many different types of focus. There's the external focus and the internal focus, where when it's internal, people get to watch an internal relationship. This was external. They were reaching out all the time to the audience, focusing their head, sharp movements, right on beat, really crisp and clean.
And although we haven't seen them on the Junior Grand Prix, interesting to note, this team competed at the Lake Placid Ice Dance International, which is a pretty prestigious event in America and often the predeterminer of which teams will be selected for international assignments. And this team won the rhythm dance there. They had a fall in the free dance and dropped down, but indication that this rhythm dance was already getting some attention from the domestic judges. And you can see now why.
It's very crisp and very clean, which a tango obviously is. It's almost staccato to a certain degree, but really well performed. They were 5th in the Junior National Championships last season in the United States. And they're tall. They're both quite tall, but it's really nice body lines.
And this is a team that will also compete here in Gdansk at the Baltic Cup, next week's Junior Grand Prix event here. So any feedback they receive now from the judges and the technical panel will be studied, and they'll be training here in this venue, working towards even better scores. It's a challenge to skate back-to-back, but it offers some skaters really relish it and live off that high adrenaline for the full duration.
Well, it's kind of good in a way because they're in the same location, same hotels, same everything. You know, they don't have to move around. They're not traveling over the Atlantic Ocean. They're here for 2 weeks. So there is no personal best or season's best score that we have to compare with. There is the top score of 67.36. Second place now owns with 65.24. The bronze position at the moment is held with the 64.18. We'll compare this score against that. As we look at a 60.31, that puts this team of Elena and Volomor into 5th place for the moment. Nice job.
They are currently 5th place. Przed Państwem reprezentanci Stanów Zjednoczonych, on the ice representing the United States of America, Romy Malcolm and Noah.
American team skating back-to-back here. As we've seen Romy Malcolm and Noah Fornara.
17 and 18 years old. This is their first Junior Grand Prix season and event. Coached by Melissa Gregory, skating the rhythm dance to a tango and flamenco.
Romy Malcolm and Noah Lafornara from the United States of America. And to me, Ted, really interesting to see the different approaches from the skaters and their teams, because this couple had so much passion and facial expression, and I know that they work hard with ballroom dancer Ennio Cordoba, and you can see the impact that he had on the presentation as well. Maybe not the same skating skills and finesse with the foot placements, but certainly lots to be admired in regards to the interpretation, as you can see from these opening movements. Look at the commitment there from Romy.
And, you know, we talked about with the tango and all these rhythms that they have, it's not such a wide variety, but I found this different. This was a bit different approach.
Absolutely, and that's what I love, to see that difference in style and approach. Here you can see within the midline step sequence, maybe the free leg placement not as clean as some of the other teams we've seen, but that was so difficult. That knee slide with the left forward outside as opposed to left inside. Oof, really difficult. Subtle touch that wasn't lost on us here. And again, throughout, that commitment and energy, sometimes perhaps more to the arms than the legs. As you see the split rotation left to close the program.
1 foot rotation there.
And Noah's mum is a skating coach as well, and so you have to assume that so much time and life commitment, family commitment to getting to this point, as they're seen with Melissa Gregory, who alongside her husband Denis Pichikov was an Olympic ice dancer for the States herself. Couple were 9th at US Nationals, teamed up in 2020, but this is their first Junior Grand Prix.
Rhythm dance scores for Romy and Noah, 54.18. Pretty happy with that score. First Junior Grand Prix, and that will put them currently into 9th place.
They are currently in 9th place. Przywitamy reprezentantów Chin. On the ice, representing China, Yu Feilin and Zijian Gao.
Yu Feilin and Zijian Gao from China, 17 years old and 19 years old.
42.22, season's best back in 2019 at the Baltic Cup right here in Gdansk. They'll skate the rhythm dance this morning to tango, Spanish waltz, and flamenco. Love the last lift.
Yeah, the difficult exit from the last
Yeah.
lift where he caught her blade. I thought that was original
Yeah.
and creative. I like that too.
Really nice. And, you know, some good things to this dance. A little flat. There's not a lot of deep edges there yet. The skating skills will be worked on, of course. There's softer knees and deeper, longer edges, that type of thing. But there's some good skills that are demonstrated at this stage of their development. Their personal best is 42.22, so they're looking to improve that right now.
Yeah, interesting assessment. And it's a tall, long-limbed team, and that has the potential to make good line and good shape. But perhaps a little hard to get down deep in those knees. And
Yeah, and they will. They absolutely will. That's just something that's you can't learn all things all at the same time. You have to take it in stages, and that's an area that we'll continue to work on.
And we have to applaud these young women competing in the ice dance competition as we see one of their stops. The teams, they're allowed to stop up to 2 times within the program for up to 5 seconds, or 1 full stop up to 10 seconds within the rhythm dance. You can see the young women, their commitment to the hair, the makeup. You can see the tango curls in her hair. It's just such a performance for the ice dancers. It really is.
Okay. Weird. Said their hair is such a performance for them. No, it's all part of the packaging. This is
Absolutely.
For sure.
And then, unfortunately, there for Yufei Lin, mistake on the twizzle. She's succumbing to the same as others.
Great pickup. I enjoyed that. And then, grab the blade. Right there. Not easy because he's kind of blind on that. Where is that blade? You could get your hand cut easily.
Yeah, well done to the team. And great to see the team playing with their difficult exits to secure the curve lift at level 4. I also was really conscious within the second section of the Argentine tango that at different points he focused the judges, then she focused the judges. They internalized their focus to each other. These little touches, there's so much time spent by the ice dancers on fine detail both on the ice and in the ballroom.
And that's why it takes so long.
Yes, and the dancers do generally tend to train on the ice for longer. Some might argue that it's less physical and therefore a more prolonged duration on the ice, or certainly that they can withstand longer duration.
I would argue that it's equal physically. Why? Because every moment they have to be in performance. In the other disciplines, they're going back and forth to the elements, then they'll come out and perform. But every single step is performance. That's posture, that's strength, that's arm position, head position, all the details.
I remember junior men's run-through was not nearly as physically demanding as when I switched to ice dance.
Yeah, think about your partner demanding on you. 47.72 for Yufei Lin in Zhejiang, 13th place after the rhythm dance.
They are currently in 13th place. Przed Państwem reprezentanci Szwajcarii. On the ice representing Switzerland, Mila O'Brien and Lauren Wiederkehr.
Mila O'Brien and the Wiederkehr from Switzerland.
Pretty young teen, 15 and 16 years old, 46.02, earning that in Courchevel. They will skate to Alice's tango and flamenco. Well, I like this team. Okay, there's lots of things from a technical perspective. I don't think we'll see the highest scores here, but they're 46.02 in Courchevel. They might beat that here, but there's something, and I don't know how to explain this accurately, but sometimes when you watch a lot of skating, you see some really good skating, and you analyze that, and you've got it right. Then there are some times that you see skating, you see the mistakes, but there's something special there, but it's hard to articulate. This team has moments of uniqueness and innovation, and their look is terrific. It's the same, it has a similar look and feel to it. I don't know, there's just something special.
And that's what's so wonderful here is that when the team came out, I remember thinking, I remember Ted really enjoyed this team in Courchevel in their first junior Grand Prix, and we've seen so many skaters, and you remember them.
Yes.
And yes, a score of 46 isn't going to be...
No, and a little flat on those edges. They're not deep edges. There's lots of things we can say, hey, these are the things the weekend. But there's also something very special there yet to be.
And what's amazing here, look, the attention to look at the gloves.
Yeah.
Somebody has, this thought process gone behind that, whether or not it's from their coach, Elisa Agafanova, or I see Karine Arribert working with them. Whoever's been behind that, thought, attention to detail, and care has gone into it. And they've come up with a theme that is different for the tango. And as we've discussed, the tango's...
Sometimes teams have, they skate the style in which they're taught. And sometimes they just simply have their own style. And this team has its own style, yet to be way further developed without question. But there is something different here, and I'm excited to watch this team over the next couple of years. I hope that I'm right with what I'm seeing. But, I know there's lots of weaknesses in areas to be developed, but there's also some strengths there.
And the couple... From my studies and stalking them a little bit online, they've worked at ISU.
Oh my God! Don't say that.
That sounds wrong. Sorry, I don't mean that. My analysis and study of them, they've worked in the ISU development camps. They've had other influences. I know they've traveled to Karine Arribert. They've worked with Elisa Agafonova. They've got lots of influences, and they're chasing the dream of being one of the world's best teams for Switzerland.
Yeah, and they have personality here. They really do. 49.27. That's their season's best. So. That score is going up. So are their skills. We're starting to see something emerge that's unique and different. Just pumped there with their bony hands. So, great job. That was fun. Okay, so here's the plan. After we've talked a lot here, we really enjoy this. We're going to have some video playbacks from Movie Man here. Then, stay tuned because the Kilt Boys are going to have a discussion. John Kerr will join Mark Conradi as we lead into the final group. You won't want to miss that. Stay with us. Go ahead.
So we can enjoy first, before John's appearance, we get to see interviews from the Junior Grand Prix in Riga with Kayla Smith and Andy Deng. And then we head to Champéry for an insight into the change foot combination spin, one of the elements that we will see in the single skaters programs later today. And finally, a teaser for the speed skating documentary. And after all that, multiple-time British champion and former European medalist, Mr. John Kerr, will join us here in the commentary booth.
Stay with us. We'll be back.
Kayla Smith, Andy Deng, huge congratulations on your win here. Now, you are one of few skaters and few teams to compete in back-to-back events. So where have you trained over the last week, and how have you coped with the emotional roller coaster of competing back-to-back?
Yeah, so we trained on Sunday in Ostrava, so we had a practice ice on Sunday, and then we flew over and we came early on Tuesday morning. We had a practice session there. So, yeah.
Has it been hard, Kayla, to come from that success straight into another competition?
Yeah, it's definitely physically and emotionally demanding, being away from home for that long. But I mean, it was a cool experience, getting all of our JGPs out of the way.
Done, yeah, and with the gold here and 15 points, and then a silver medal last week and getting 13 points there, you're virtually guaranteed to make the Junior Grand Prix final. So how proud do you both feel of yourselves right now?
very good. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really amazing. Kind of just to be able to have that opportunity to kind of go and compete in front of everybody and be with the best of the best.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, it's 3 weeks from the Junior Grand, or 3 months even, sorry, from the Junior Grand Prix final. Now, I saw your coach earlier, and I think she has some pretty big plans for your training, but have you guys got any particular goals for the next few weeks in training?
Probably getting our triple twist and then landing triple throws more consistently on one foot, and then getting our jumps together again.
So, plenty to work on, plenty to work on. So just before I leave you, we've just got to acknowledge that Kayla, you are everybody's favorite cheer squad member. If those watching haven't seen it, you are utterly amazing in the ways that you support your other teammates. So kudos not only for your wins here, but also for the support that you give the others. So well done to you guys. So good job, team. Well done, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Hi skating family, my name is Stéphane Ambiel. I'm coaching at the Center of Excellence in Champéry, Switzerland. Today, I'm going to present a new element, which is the combo spin. And since in Switzerland we had some famous, iconic spinning moves, I'm going to show you a couple of tips. In order to make a proper combination spin, you will need to perform all 3 basic positions, which is the camel, the sit, and the upright. There is a possibility to do a combo spin or a change combo spin. If so, you will need to change your foot during the spin. Once you are comfortable with all 3 basic positions in your combo spin or change combo spin, you can increase the levels of your spin by adding a few features. Here are 3 of them. You can have a difficult change of position throughout your combination spin. The second one is all 3 basic positions on the second foot. And the third one is a non-basic position, which is also called the intermediate position. While we are watching the spins, you might see that the speed of rotation is increasing and accelerating. In order to do so, you will have to use muscle tension. Very important to keep your core activated, your back muscles. We have many small muscles in our body that we are able to activate, and that will increase the speed of rotation. I will try to show you my change combo, maybe level 4, who knows. Let's see how it goes. I hope you enjoy the videos and the tips about the change combo spin. Spins are very important because they make a big impact, a big impression in your program. So work on them and make sure that they are also aesthetic in your positions. And yes, I hope you enjoy the video. Please keep following us, watch our channel, and thank you for following us. See you.
we're all speed skaters, and that's what we train to do. And when you're training for kind of nothing, when you can't skate, then what's the point?
Mentally, it's a bit hard when you can't do the things you want to.
Forget how many months or days we were in lockdown.
I know it was talked about, we might have a bubble, we might do this, didn't think too much of it.
It's also good to show the world that not everything is impossible in these times.
In my head, I was thinking, oh my God, like I want to go home because I don't feel ready for this.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gdansk, Poland. Week number 4 on the ISU Junior Grand Prix. I'm your host, Ted Barton, along with Mark Hanratty, and we have a special guest here in our back cold meat locker room here in Gdansk, just before the final group in the rhythm dance, John Kerr. Now, I call them the Kilt Boys because the other night we were having a beverage. We were talking a little bit about their heritage and their background and the kilts, because Mark wore his kilt at his wedding and beautiful pictures, and John wore a kilt in front of millions of people in the ice dance, which I reviewed. Just beautiful performance. So you're going to enjoy this. I want the boys to talk a little bit about dance, of course, what it is now, a little bit about their heritage. Just have fun here, but be legal, please. John Kerr and Mark Hanratty.
Yes, we'll make sure that it's a censored conversation, I think, Ted. Don't worry, the Junior Grand Prix series is in safe hands, I think. I'll keep... Ted's off to get a hot drink. So, Mr. John Kerr, 7-time British champion, 2-time European medalist, top 5 in the world, choreographer to Olympic champions, and now here in Gdansk in the commentary booth for your sins.
It's only up from here.
I don't know about that. So you obviously had an incredible career yourself. You were a single skater like so many of the dancers, and then you transitioned over to dance and you skated with your sister Sinead. How has it been though to come out of that world of competition into a new phase of life? You're a father now.
It's much harder than I thought. I feel like my life when I was an ice dancer like yourself, it was a very you're pretty much just focused on that part of your life about being a great athlete, trying to be as good as you possibly can. And then, you come away from that, and then it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So, we did a lot of shows for a while, so that was great. Then kind of got into the coaching game. Met my wife, we have 2 kids now, so so life is good.
But it is an interesting discussion point, and Ted has acknowledged it as well, that the transition, we spend so much time, fans of the sport, those in the sport, spend so much life committed to the pursuit of competitive success. So as I said, you're a medalist at an ISU championship event, your whole life is defined by that, and there isn't really a support system in place to transition out of that, because it's a pretty wide world out there that's very different to what you lived in before.
Yeah, and it was tricky because, I think you're so used to being, celebrated, because obviously when you're out there, you're used to the applause and people telling you, oh, you're so great at this, and then you get into normal life and you do something normal and you're looking around looking for the applause, and there's no applause anymore.
But it's so good, you can be that honest and articulate that, because it's not spoken about. And I don't know what you think, John, now with the athletes that you're teaching, but it's quite an indulgence, although it's fueled with so much stress and pressure to be a competitor, but it's quite indulgent to have all that time and energy spent just on making yourself good at something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why, I would say to everybody, when you're in that stage of your life, enjoy it. Have fun with it, work hard, really kind of enjoy the process, because that's the thing, if you really enjoy work, training hard every day, the result will come, but you have to enjoy that part of it. And, there's, you can't get that part of your life back, right?
Yes.
So the rest of your life is fun and it's different, but that part of your life is particularly, really enjoy that time.
Yeah, it's the journey, not the destination.
That's what they say, right?
But that said, at the time for these athletes to do the run-throughs, there's not many people that enjoy the run-through process. Although, interestingly, I have heard from some, we were talking to some of the skaters and they said that they genuinely enjoy run-through. Now, I think your sister might have been one that might have liked to run-through.
I think she did. I think, to be honest, most of the time it was her twisting my arm to do another one.
Yeah.
I'd be whining away about, do I have to do this or whatever. But, she was She was such a
machine.
Oh man, she was a machine. She really was. I mean, the thing is, you really think to yourself, like, how lucky you are when you have a partner who's like such a great athlete and such a great skater. It's, you know, like, I didn't always appreciate it at the time, but I really do now.
Yeah,
like,
hindsight is a wonderful thing. I'm sure at the time you were thinking, why is she eager to do another run?
I know.
Well, I just want to curl up.
I know. Like, why is she such a tryhard? I appreciate that now, because then you get the result out of it. So.
And Sinead's doing well as well, your sister.
She's great. Yeah, she's up living in the U.S., in New Jersey. She got married to a guy who won 2 Stanley Cups, Grant Marshall, who they met on the TV show Battle of the Blades. So, yeah, it's all a very, I guess, a skating family, I guess.
Yes, this big skating family. And it's really interesting for me. I hadn't been at events, ISU events, as regularly as yourself, and it's interesting to see that now, as we watch the ice dance competition, so many of those that you and I competed against are now, you know, alongside you on the other side of the board supporting the next generation. So how for you is it to be living kind of vicariously through your students?
It's you know, like, in some ways I mean, it's obviously much easier because I don't have to do the run-throughs anymore, but you know, like, in some ways you really kind of I don't know, like, you're trying, you know, like, you're just trying to, it's so much easier to really work on yourself, like, I think, but then when you have to try and, you know, like, make somebody else, you know, improve them in every facet of their skating, it's much harder than my coaches made it look. So, like, it's definitely something where, you know, I got to keep working on it to try and get to where some of my coaches were. So,
it's a kind of hard sell to get some young people to appreciate the need to devote their life to.
Yeah,
to this.
It is. I mean, honestly, I mean, I think we spoke about this a couple of nights ago, where, I mean, honestly, you gotta have a little bit of a screw loose, I think.
Absolutely.
You know, like, because, I mean, when you're putting this much effort and this much time into it, I mean, this game is super hard, and it's only got harder since when we did it. So yeah, I have big admiration for these kids.
So, as you said, the sport has obviously developed as is to be expected within the world of sport, but we're heading into a new Olympic cycle. Any predictions moving forward, John, as to what we might see or what might happen?
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's such a spanner in the works with, obviously, you know, like, the war in Ukraine, which has obviously knocked out, like, a bunch of the Russian athletes. But it has given an opportunity for other countries to really, you know, like, to be the star of the show, I guess, because obviously, you know, Russian skaters were being pretty dominant, especially some of the disciplines. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, this is obviously, you know, like, our first year into a new Olympic cycle, so it's exciting.
And I think in the senior ranks, I've been having the Latvian champions, and it's interesting when we talk about results and qualification for the free dance at the World Championships, looking through the list of last year's Worlds, as is normal after an Olympic year, there are a lot of retirements, and that's exciting, I suppose, in some regard for the next gen.
Well, to be honest, it's always been like, even when we were skating, like, sometimes, honestly, unless certain teams retired, it was going to be really hard to get past them. Yeah. So that's always been part of it, that, you know, like, sometimes, you know, like, established teams, they win or they medal a championship event, and then after a period of time they move on, and that gives the next generation, you know, the opportunity to go for those medals. So, I mean, honestly, I think there's more depth now than there's possibly ever been, especially at the senior level, because maybe if you went down to some of the lower groups, there maybe wasn't quite the level of skating, whereas now I think you can go all the way down to 24 to 30, and everyone can skate. Like,
absolutely.
You know, that's kind of cool.
There are no weak teams, and I think one of the things that I find interesting is that now, as Ted's the most wonderful promoter of the sport and so desperately eager to raise awareness of the sport, and what I'm conscious of is that there aren't the same professional opportunities for competitors post, you know, competitive cycle, and perhaps that's the reason that we've seen the likes of Chalk and Bates and Hubble and Donoghue, who have obviously now retired but staying in the competitive field for so many Olympic cycles.
I think you're 100% right. I think that's a big reason that obviously there was shows and financial incentives for skaters to maybe, you know, like, maybe they'd get to their late 20s and so on, and they would think, okay, now I have an opportunity to go and you know, travel the world, you know, make a good bit of you know, money, and, you know, make some of the money back that you spent on skating.
Hemorrhaged.
And yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard to ever make that money back, but yeah, that's the unfortunate situation right now, where, you know, there is still stars on ice and everything, but it doesn't seem like there's quite as many professional opportunities. And I guess it's up to people within the sport to try and create those opportunities. Like I know Doug Webster with Ice Dance International in the US, he's part of his motivation is to try and create opportunities for skaters who are coming out of competitive skating, so they don't necessarily have to go straight into coaching. Because I think that's something where when you come out of competitive skating, you want to still, you want to evolve your skating. You want to show what you can do outside of the rules that you have in ISU events. So that'd be kind of nice to, I think even if I can try and help create more of those opportunities, and yourself, because you've done that before as well.
Well, Ted keeps referencing it. We're very fortunate in the UK. We have the TV show Dancing on Ice, popularised by Olympic legends Jane Torval and Christopher Dean. But I think everybody would be keen to see more performance opportunities for athletes around the globe. And yesterday, some of the viewers were coming in with questions, and one question which I think Ted was reluctant for me to acknowledge, but somebody asked, did we miss the influence of Tonya Harding? And we acknowledged that did, to some extent, pave the way for more interest in the sport, given the controversy over I won't go down that rabbit hole again, but that did pave the way for more interest in the sport. Now we just are at a crux point with the sport whereby we want more interest, more professional opportunities, but perhaps without somebody involved in whacking somebody else's knee.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I think there's more competition now than maybe there was back then.
Yeah.
Because I think, certain sports have got a lot bigger and they've maybe done a better job of promoting themselves. Maybe we could do a better job of that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we have to, and that's a big part of how we create the rules, is are we always, making the rules the best suited to create a super interesting, entertaining
spectator sport?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, John, the warm-up is over, so thank you so much for joining us. We will, I'm sure, bring you back whenever we possibly can, but we look ahead now to the final group of ice dancers. I think if Ted stays out, maybe you can help and stay involved with some analysis of what's going to happen on the ice as we look to Laura Finelli and Matteo Stefano Pedicini, the first group on this fresh ice here in Gdansk at the Solidarity Cup 2022. Laura, 15 years old, and Matteo, 18. It's these Laura Finelli and Matteo Stefano Pedicini, 15-year-old and 18-year-old, finishing their rhythm dance here in Gdansk. Mistake for Matteo in the twizzles. Generally, it's been the women who have struggled a little bit more than the men on the sequential twizzles element.
For today.
For today, yes. It changes event to event.
I'm back, Mark, and things went well?
I think so. You did get a chance to hear, so maybe...
Nobody phoned me, so that was good.
That's the sign that we were okay.
That's a lot of fun. I was just saying to John as we watch the replays here, I was just saying to John that, we want to make that effort to bring the skating community to our viewers more often with interviews and joining in broadcasts like that. So that's a lot of fun, and thank you for hosting him. And
we stayed in our best behavior, I think.
Okay, that's good.
John perhaps a little more outspoken than me, so that's good.
You're kidding.
Yeah. And we just look to see now Laura and Matteo on the curve lift. Here the change of pose, slight wobble on the change of pose. Good recovery there from Matteo, and this is the difficult exit. And you'll just get to see now, find through the first twizzle, the more comfortable direction for most skaters. And here for Matteo, just the break and rotation there. The 3-turn checked rotation drops him a level, and it looks like he's down at level 1. You can see spinning twizzle, so staying on the ball of the foot for the Group C feature, the third twizzle at the end, rather than making it a traveling twizzle.
The scores, please. Para uzyskała za swój taniec rytmiczny 48 punktów.
Well, 48.41 for Laura and Matteo Stefano. That will put this team currently into 14th place. They look pretty happy with that.
Love to see that. Good reaction to the scores for the Italians.
That's such a nice thing about this judging system, is that it's personal into your improvement, not just
a ranking.
Yeah, not just a ranking, yeah.
Przed Państwem reprezentanci Węgier. On the ice representing Hungary, Maja Benkiewicz and Mark Shapiro.
Hungarian team, Maja Benkovic and Mark Shapiro.
Maja 15, Mark 19 years old. First Junior Grand Prix season and event, and they will skate a flamenco to violin concerto in F minor. Well, what an interesting music choice. As I was reading, I was saying, oh, and they're skating to a flamenco, and then I'm reading, I'm going, violin concerto in F minor by Vivaldi. I'm going, well, how's that going to work? But it does. It's very interesting.
What an inspired music choice. And Karine Haribert, their coach, also responsible, we saw, with Céline Fragi and Jean Hanfernot, the couple currently lying in second place. They used, we think, Mahalo the Mountain King, and that music edit was brilliant as well. And it's great to see a coaching staff deviating from the conventional norm of tango.
Well, look, you have to. If you're going to be different and you're going to be innovative, and certainly Karen is certainly that. There's no question about that. We talked about the French teams, and I've often talked about the French approach to skating has always been innovative. Sometimes you may not like it, different issue.
Yeah.
The issue is they're trying to break new ground, and that has to be appreciated.
And that, lends itself. We've talked more about the program component scores with the single skaters, but the components are the same for the dancers, and the judges have to award composition, the choreography reflecting the musical phrase and form, and the presentation with the musical sensitivity. So, great job from the team. If I was to say anything with this team, I sense that Maya leads a little, which the conventional norm in ice dance is that the man would lead and the lady would follow, as is in ballroom dancing.
Is it in the rules? Does it have to be that way?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
no,
well, okay.
Absolutely not. It's convention and the idea that there would be one that would lead, another would follow. You can see here within the midline step sequence there were times when Maya was moving before Mark had perhaps initiated the transition. And that's fine. It's just that perhaps early in their development they're still finding their role within the team.
Yeah, true enough. And that'll come in time.
She went down there to the lunge movement before I think he was prepped. There's a little wobble.
Yeah.
But the ice dance women, we've talked about the pairs female skaters. The ice dance women, they are such a confident, strong breed of female, and that's what's necessary to perform at this.
Well, they have to perform at the highest level.
Absolutely.
44.21. That'll put Maya and Mark currently in the 16th place. Well, lessons learned and experience gained here for all these teams. So important for the development.
The second Junior Grand Prix experience for Jenny Kim and Namu Lee, who competed at Czech Skate 2022 representing Korea.
Well, they're coached by Aaron Lowe and Megan Wing out of Burnaby, BC. This team skates every morning under my office as we watch them develop. 46.20. The personal best, wanting to top that now. Well, we talked a little earlier about Megan and Aaron's. Their teams are always prepared and always in shape and fit. And this team is well, but they're in their early stages of development as a team, a partnership, if you will, and skating skills still being constructed and worked on.
Absolutely. And so if you look at the program component scores, including the skating skills that the judges are awarding to this team, it looks like those components will be in the 5s. And for those of you that don't know the sport, the components are given out of 10. And when they last competed, when they competed in Ostrava at the Czech Skate 2022, they were in the high 4s and the low 5s. And it looks like they've pushed that up a little bit here, which is testament to their success. Other elements still tricky as they work the technical element score as well. When they were in Ostrava, they had low level 3 and a 2 on the twizzles. Here coming in at a 4 and a 2. And you'll see that it seems like there's been a shift in change. Now it's the men that are struggling with the twizzles, with Namu having the break here.
Yeah, and they got 2 out of the 8 key points. So some work to do in that area. That's always a challenge because it's such small details.
And as we look now at the midline step sequence, the couples made progress here because both awarded a level 2. And that indicative of the fact that 3 types of difficult turns were called by the technical specialist. So one technical specialist will look at the woman, one the man, and ascertain whether the difficult turns are fully clean. So here you see them go for back inside counter turn. I'm not going to say if it's called clean or not. I wouldn't be so bold as to go for that.
You might be wrong.
Exactly.
Or right, who knows.
And here, right forward, outside rocker, pressing those edges. And then a back choctaw was the final turn for their midline. Right back outside, left forward, inside as Aaron Lowe looks on.
Nice work on the slow-mo there.
Thank you.
Well done. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores for Jenny Kim and Namu Lee. Season best, 46.36. That's an improvement over Grand Prix, Junior Grand Prix number 1 that puts them currently in the 16th place.
Which is their new season's best. They are currently in 16th place. Przed Państwem reprezentanci Japonii.
The bronze medalists from Czech Skate in Ostrava. The first Japanese ice dance team to win a medal on the Junior Grand Prix since that event. Masaya has suffered a right knee injury and they're coming in here with limited training time. We wish them all the best.
And they're coached by Kathy Reed. We saw her mic'd up. What a great piece that was. They will skate to a tango and a taka tango. 61.05, the personal best. Well, Mark, here's what I like most about this team. We saw the mistake. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. Lots of changes of holds, which is really interesting. They have gained confidence in their first success.
Absolutely.
And it allows them and fuels them to provide more small nuances, which you wouldn't normally see at the stage of development. They're pushing the limits, and that which has been fueled by success. So you can see them pushing deeper edges faster, and they'll have a couple of mistakes because of that. But this is a team clearly on a mission, and they're going to push the barriers.
Yeah, and having chatted to their coach, Kathy Reed, I was concerned knowing that Messiah was suffering with not nice injury. And then even in the warm-up, when they were working through the first section of the Argentine tango, when it came to the man's right forward inside counter, I saw him wobbling, and I thought, oh my goodness, are they going to be even able to compete without him being in too much pain? And yet, just as you said, Ted, the confidence, despite injury, that success from their bronze medal is given.
I know you said it before, which I forgot because I'm old, and you just told me about the injury now. I didn't see the injury in the performance. That's my point. You know, like I didn't see that at all. But
and actually, interesting, Messiah was the one whose interpretation, expression here, as you look at that sly little look.
And he's looking over to the left to the judge as he's going down the ice.
But then you also question, I'm conscious that Messiah's had the injury and yet surprised at his level of performance despite nursing that injury. But then as a team, as a partnership, now Kida, that was a wonderful head movement there, at the end of the drizzles, she's had to cope with the worry about her partner and having to support her partner. So that's obviously going to have had an impact on her, even though he's the one suffering.
This team is a united team. They are completely together. They're on the same page. They have the same skills. They've got a keen desire to be competitive and be at the top, and their coach is at the same stage because this is her first year on the Junior Grand Prix with the team, and she wants to do well because she was a competitor.
Absolutely, and Kathy's just done a magnificent job. She recently had a new competition created in memory of her late brother Chris Reed for ice dancers, and she's trying to popularize and promote ice dance within Japan, which isn't as popular compared to the singles and the pairs events yet. And Kathy's doing a magnificent job to add that to what is an incredibly popular sport in Japan.
Rhythm dance score 56.96. There's personal best of 61. So they're falling short of that. That'll put Dale and Messiah into 7th place. I'll be a little disappointed that, but this team is on a mission and they're on a journey and will only get better from here. Bright future.
Przed Państwem reprezentanci Meksyku. On the ice representing Mexico.
Harlow Zinella Stanley and Nikita Sosnenko from Mexico.
Well, 31.92, their personal best in the Riga Cup competition. They'll skate now to a tango and flamenco.
Harlow Stanley and Nikita Sosnenko from Mexico, and this couple had a bit of a nightmare in the rhythm dance in the last Junior Grand Prix in Riga. Harlow had a fall, so delighted to see them having a clean skate. Still not perfect, and still some mistakes made, but a new team, and good to see a more positive experience here in Gdansk.
The final team in this event
is Ruslan Goncharov, Olympic bronze medalist himself, greets them as they leave the ice. And as I mentioned in Riga, Nikita from Kiev in Ukraine, his dad also an ice dancer and competed in the Olympics in 1994 and knows Ruslan well, also from Ukraine. So great story. And I find Harlow's energy, she's got wonderful energy both on and off the ice, vivacious character, positive vibes, and I think there's a wonderful character on the ice. Maybe the tango is not her natural go-to dance style because she's just so bubbly and jolly, but certainly commitment to expression. I saw the free dance practice of this couple before the competition started in Riga. And I remember thinking, gosh, they look really strong. They're going to be really good. They're still relatively new, still not with experience, and still, as we saw with the second French team, still finding their way in and who's the leader and who's the follower. But potential was very visible to me in certain sections, in small sections.
All the strengths and requirements and passion for the dance is in their bodies and in their minds. Hasn't been all organized and trained yet, and that's on the way. That's coming right now, right? It's taking some time, as it always does. But you can see this young lady just has a passion for it, smiling all the way, enjoying the performance and the spotlight.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the spotlight, then you don't like the sport. You're in the spotlight in the sport.
Certainly not an ice dancer if you're not wanting to.
No, you can hide a little bit in singles behind the jumps and stuff like that, but if you can't hide and dance, you have to be a performer. You got to be a show off.
Absolutely, and I know many introverted ice dancers, but when it comes to getting on the ice, the extroverted aspects of their personality have to come out, and that was really well demonstrated by Harlow, as she's now, you can see, off the ice as well, entertaining us. Good to see the connection between the team, and chatting to Nikita, he still has family in the Ukraine, and that's obviously something this young man has to contend with whilst training and competing at this high level.
Rhythm dance scores for the final team, season's best, 37.40 for Harlow and for Nikita. That will put this team currently into 21st position. Well, your top three teams, Canada, France, and Great Britain. You could have predicted that coming into this event because all three teams are strong and have won medals on the Junior Grand Prix so far this season. They're all battling for that trip to Torino in early December as we take a look at the final results on the rhythm dance, Mark, and we'll close this portion of today. Portion number one. We have two more coming up.
Yes, one down, two to go. A great start to the rhythm dance competition, and we look ahead to the pairs free skate, and it will be the women who conclude this middle day of competition at the Solidarity Cup 2022.
So the pairs free program coming up in about 25 minutes, so we'll sign off on the rhythm dance here from Gdansk. I'm your host, Ed Bard, along with Mark Hanratty. We'll be back in about 25 minutes to cover the pairs free. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the rhythm dance. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.